Hello again, small model collectors. So today we're going to look at a 1/400 scale B52 bomber. Supposedly, I haven't opened the box. But if you're thinking about getting into collecting diecast airplanes, I bought this one from this website, toymaxco.cc. Alright. Seems like unnecessary that they would airmail me this. I just picked the cheapest shipping method, and that happened to be airmail. That makes no sense to me. I guess maybe most stuff is airmailed today, but that seems unnecessary. Alright, so we got some newspaper, Chinese newspaper if you want to keep up on Chinese news. Let me get this box out of here. And we got some bubble wrap. So this model is made by a company called Gemini Jets, and they have a line of military airplanes called Gemini Max. I wonder if Max means military aircraft series. I don't know. I'm just kind of guessing. Alright, so what I like about this brand is they actually tell you about the airplane. So here, let's see what it says. Pan up a little bit. Boeing B52H. There's a whole story. Boy, I'm not going to read that. That's too much. But there's a bunch of dimensions here. And then this is an actual registration number. So this livery is specific to this registration number. It's powered by 8 Pratt & Whitney engines. And then max cruising speed 500 miles per hour, range around 9,000 miles before refueling. These can refuel in air. So these things are never taped together because very often at retail outlets people want to open them up and inspect the models. I wish I could do that with car models, but they seem to seal those things most often. Alright, typical Blister Pack here. It's nice that they even tell you what model belongs in here in case you lose the box or something. It's a tough one. So as I open this, let me talk about the plane. This thing was introduced in 1955 and is still in service today. There's over almost 80 of them flying around. So there were originally 744 of them built between 1952 and 1962. But these things are big and expensive, so the military is trying to stretch them out, and they've done a pretty good job of it, being several decades old now. It's possibly the longest running military aircraft in history, if I had to guess. I don't know of an older airplane than this that's actually flying these days with militaries. Okay, so let's take a look here. It's really hard to try to have a big model like this in photos comparing them. This thing is capable of carrying up to 70,000 pounds or 32,000 kilos of weaponry. And this thing replaced the old Convair B36 Peacemaker, which I looked up images of. Looks pretty cool actually, that one. And instead of being known as the Stratofortress, which is the official name of this thing, its nickname is the Buff, for Big Ugly Fat Swear Word, or Big Ugly Fat Fella, if you want to be nice. And that's all I really bothered to learn about today. So here's a picture of some armaments. Regular munitions would be those bombs here and here, but here in the middle there's a carousel of cruise missiles, or you could have cruise missiles out on these pylons, and then you'll see the engines are paired up. There's actually been some bids here, or the government wants to replace these engines with commercial engines. So a couple of companies, Boeing themselves, Rolls-Royce, GE, and Pratt & Whitney, maybe not Boeing, but the last three are engine manufacturers. And so they're thinking about replacing these double pods with regular commercial jet engines, because I mean, this thing is from the 1950s. Think about a car from the 1950s and how much pollution that thing is putting out. Now, jet planes put out a lot more pollution than any cars, you know. So you got engines designed in the 1950s, so it just makes sense to have more modern engines for fuel efficiency and less air pollution. Alright, so I'm going to raise this camera up a little bit here, because this one's kind of big. So the paint finish on this guy is like it's kind of like a greenish gray, it looks like. It's not, maybe, no, my photo booth is supposed to be neutral white or sunlight, so I feel like there's a little tint of green in this this gray here. And it's kind of it's supposed to be matte finish, I imagine, but I kind of feel like it's almost satin. It's definitely not glossy, but you can definitely see the highlight here on the body, so it's not perfectly matte. Alright. So the windows are just printed on. That's pretty much almost all 1/400 scales are like that. But that's fine by me. And then the printing is very nice, obviously. I mean, if you look at my thumb, this is a pretty small fuselage. I do feel like there's a contaminant there in the nose. And I feel like this pick is dirty, so let me wipe that off. Okay. I get a new pick. Alright, so there's a little NACADUC there. This is a little window, I guess. The logo or whatever, the mascot for the airplane. Then we have these doors. The wheels here, I think they actually do spin. Yeah, they're on axles. Alright, a lot of printing going on up there. Let's take a look at one of these engines. Yeah, there's a little rib detail for the fan blades in here. These engines feel, I think they might be plastic, which is fine by me. But the wings are metal, and the fuselage is metal. The landing gear, yep. And then some, I'm gonna guess that's a fuel pod, but I don't know for sure. Be careful, there's some weird stuff sticking out the bottom there. Some sort of antenna or something, some sort of fin sticking out the bottom. And then, I'm not sure what these bulges are either. I'm looking at the side photo, but I can't figure it out. Alright, so the tail gunner position. I guess there's 4 machine guns back there. And then this is a bubble for someone to look out. And then these are windows as well. I'm not sure what this pattern is. I see it on my 1/200 scale bomber. And then see, look how tight this wing gap is. Not bad. Alright, some printing up there. A radome or something. I don't know. Maybe satellite antenna. A bump here as well. And then some markings as well. I think these might be ejection hatches. Like, I think they literally have jet seats to bail out of, like a fighter jet. I could be wrong though. Please leave a comment if you know. I don't know too much about airplanes, but I do like them. Interesting. The wing has a raised texture right here. So I'm not sure what that would do. Yeah, it's a really faintly raised texture. So that's cast metal. Alright, let's go to the bottom. Alright, so some weight there for where that's supposed to rest. Panel gaps there. And nice to see the Gemini Max logo there. So you'll see the landing gear is quite interesting, how it's staggered. When they're down, obviously they're parallel, but this one flips forward, this one flips backwards. Alright, some sort of, I'm not sure what these pods would do either. And then I think these are stocks or blank areas to put those cruise missiles on. Alright. Yeah, and then there's little winglets there in the bottom. Not sure what those would be for. And then this giant hole is if you want to put it on a stand. most diecast airplanes have a hole on the bottom because a lot of people like to have them in flight mode even though their landing gear is down. Alright, so that is that. Very cool, very cool. Let us compare to the 1/200 scale before we get into some other 1/400 scale comparisons. I gotta make some room. So this is 1/400, so naturally a 1/200 would be twice as big in every dimension. Twice as long, twice as wide, and twice as tall. So this one is made by Herpa. It's so big I can't even fit it into the frame. Alright, so I'm gonna try something here. So, yeah, doubling in size every dimension. This Herpa one I added some cruise missiles. They're an accessory you can buy. But you'll see the graphic on the rear horizontal stabilizers there. I don't know what that is. It's some sort of antenna maybe? I'm thinking about like mobile phone antennas. That's as high as I can go before I hit the roof of my photo booth. Alright, let's get this back. Get this out of here, and I'll pull out some other 1/400 scale planes. So here's an... Sorry, I'm going to make room. This B52 is so huge. This is a little F-16 fighter jet. And it came as an accessory to a Dragon Wings 1/400 scale airplane. I pulled up this image here of the thing next to a B-2 bomber because Dragon Wings makes a 1/400 scale B-2 bomber, but I haven't bothered to buy it because it looks a little bit clownish because the wings are so thick at that scale. And I also have the 1/200 scale version of that made by Herpa. Alright, so an old bomber. This one I think is by Dragon. This is the B-29. So, you know, the end of World War II, the Enola Gay, I think was a B-29, and that's what dropped one of the bombs over Japan. So it's quite smaller, you know, World War II going to, you know, 1950s, the Cold War era. And then later, the B-1B bomber, the Bone as it's nicknamed, this one would have wings like an F-14 where they can splay out. This is made by Dragon as well. Dragon doesn't put their brand on the bottom of their models though, which is a shame. They do have a version where the wings are splayed out, but I didn't pull that out for this review. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure if the B-1B is actually in service. Maybe not. I think it used too much fuel. I think the B52 is being used still because it may still be more economical than this because this is a supersonic jet. This is subsonic. It's it's slower than the speed of sound, so it's just slow and steady. Whereas this thing actually will break the sound barrier, but I think you need to have a lot more thrust, obviously, and henceforth burning fuel to do so. Alright, so one last one I'm going to pull out is the biggest airplane in existence that's actively flying. It's the Antonov AN-225 made by Herpa. Boy, again, I'm going to have to pan out the camera. So, I mean, look how big this AN-225 is. Right? I mean, I would love to see that in real life. I've never seen one in real life. I've only seen the AN-124, which is a big plane in itself. But I mean, if you've ever been into like an airplane museum and seen a fighter jet. You know, a fighter jet's relatively big, but I mean, gee, well, anyways, so it's rather fun for me collecting, right? Just being in awe of the massiveness of human technology, at least until the aliens come. Or maybe they're here, who knows. Alright, well, let me get these planes out of here, and we'll get this guy spinning on its own, because I think it's a cool model that Gemini has put out here. Alright, so I'm very happy to get this. Partially why I got this is because that Herpa one I showed, it was so heavy, 2 of the engines broke off in shipping. And there's no financial benefit to trying to return something, you know, halfway across the world. So I just have to live with a broken 1/200 scale one. So I can never sell it, it's broken. But now I have a 1/400 scale and it's in perfect condition, so I'm very happy to have this. Okay, well, that's it for today's airplane show. I actually went ahead and ordered a 1/200 scale Russian next generation fighter. I think it's called the T-50. So if you like these airplane videos, there'll be another one to come. But I think that's the end of my airplane purchases for now. Alright, thanks for checking this one out. I'll see you around. See you at the next airport. Bye.